The Lagos State House of Assembly on Monday witnessed a significant shift in leadership as the new Speaker, Mojisola Meranda, officially moved into the Speaker's office amidst members' support. The development followed the removal from office of the former Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, on January 13, even though he had on Saturday described his removal as unconstitutional and laid claim to the office. However, despite his insistence on being the Speaker, Obasa was conspicuously absent from the Assembly on Monday amidst tight security to forestall any breakdown of law and order. Former Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly and a Minister, Olorunimbe Mamora, has urged the newly sworn-in Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mojisola Meranda, to avoid possible banana peels during her tenure for her to succeed. Mamora had earlier described the controversial removal of the immediate past Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, as constitutional. With her resumption as the new Speaker, will former Speaker Mudashiru Obasa move on and accept the new change in leadership at the Lagos State House of Assembly? Joining us on the show to discuss this is Debo Adeniran, President of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. Good morning, Mr. Adeniran, and you're most welcome to the morning show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, Mr. Adeniran, Happy New Year.
Good to see you.
Yes, thank you.
You are looking more prosperous.
I don't know about prosperity. I'm simply a struggling journalist. But very quickly, to the point.
That's right.
You are president of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. Now, former Speaker Obasa is saying that his rights were violated in the process of removal. He's questioning the process.
That's right.
One, that he was absent when he was removed, and that going by precedence, Honorable Pelumi was present when he was removed. Mrs. Teju, Honorable Teju was present when she was removed. Two, that policemen were brought to the premises, and that policemen didn't need to be there, even if they were going to remove people. Three, simply, he says the mode of his removal is unconstitutional. But what redress is available to him beyond rights that he's quoting? And is he right in insisting on due process? Do you think that he should just accept what has happened, or you think that there are possible options available to him?
Thank you very much. First, it's usually difficult for me to contribute to political issues because full of intrigues, and all of them know it. I wouldn't know what happens to our political leaders. Sometimes they just want to use the same rules that is applicable at the level of a National Union of Road Transport Workers. You know, they use all of these janjaweed kind of rules of engagement.
National Union of Road Transport Workers. That's MC Oluomo.
I didn't mention anybody's name. You are mentioning name now. Okay. Because of course, it is set out in our Constitution and in the House rules, the procedure for convening the sitting of the House and the procedure for removing House leaders. I mean, first, in fact, ordinarily, when you talk about rules of natural justice, you have to give both sides, opportunity to state their cases. If you accuse somebody of some wrongdoings, it is only tried, even in law, for you to hear from, what defense. You don't assume that somebody doesn't have any defense. So the rule of the House itself, according to those who had been there and journalists like you, is that they should convene through even if it's going to be emergency sitting, there are ways by which they convene their sittings, and the Speaker will be in the know. And if it's the Speaker that was accused, you have to let him know all of these accusations and set up a panel that will look into, that will investigate the allegations. And the person, the House leader that is involved will be given opportunity to defend himself. That is even the rules of natural justice. You can't hear from one side and assume that the other side doesn't have any defense. So if indeed the House rules or maybe resolutions or whatever had been the procedure for removal of Speaker has been violated, then he has the opportunity of going to court if the House will not resolve their own issues internally, because there are also procedures for them to resolve the internal wranglings, the kind of thing that led to the removal of the former Speaker. But I have to be quick in saying that sometimes maybe it's part of their rules that is not yet published or brought to the knowledge of people like us. But as far as we know, and from what we read on the internet, we believe that the House truly have violated their own rules. Okay, so they should not turn the House to House of Commotion. And the police, bringing the police and security agencies to the House is something I don't think was necessary, because there wasn't any threat, to public peace. And those who came, actually Nigerians have the right, because we do protest every time. Okay, so they have the right to protest whatever they are dissatisfied with. Okay. And the police doesn't have to harass people for that.
Mr. Adeniran, my question is very clear. So how did, in your view, having observed the proceedings, and I think we've been able to hear from his side, because he held an informal press statement or meeting with his, his supporters, where he presented his side of the matter, said that due process wasn't followed. But as with your experience, what were some of the violations of the House rules that occurred, which will give him a case if he were to proceed to court to challenge the decision?
First, the House was not supposed to convene on the day that he was removed. And there's a procedure. The procedure was that if there will be emergency convening of the House, it will emanate from those who want that convening of the House. Then they will do a letter. Maybe about 1/3 of the House members will do a letter to the clerk. The clerk will inform all the honorable members that the House will convene, and the cases that they have will be laid bare and it will be debated. Then if somebody is indicted, then a panel will be set up to investigate, giving the indicted officer opportunity to defend himself.
Are you talking about an impeachment or a removal? Remember that he wasn't impeached. He was just removed as
the same thing. You see, once you violate any rule of the House, you'll be given the opportunity to defend yourself. Actually, what happens in the House is supposed to be removal, not impeachment. Okay? Because even if somebody is removed, a member of the House is removed, you can still return to the House as a member representative.
He was removed. He wasn't impeached.
Yeah, it's still the same thing. If he feels that he had been cheated out, then he can put all of those rules of engagement, what do they call it now? Rules of the House. I don't know how they call it. Okay? Put it together, and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, what does it allow, and what does the procedure?
Talking about Constitution, Section 92, Sub 2, Paragraph C, is what talks about the removal of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. And it says what you need is 2/3 of the majority of the House. Did they have 2/3 majority? Impeachment is used with regard to governors in Section 188. Section 188 is the one that talks about the process, defense, persons of integrity and all of that. So there seems to be some confusion about removal and impeachment. But for the House, it's simply about removal.
The truth is that the House of Assembly is the true symbol of democracy. And all the principles and ethos of democracy should be seen to manifest, to ooze out to the public from the Houses of Assembly. The same thing with the National Assembly. They should observe the necessary decorum, they should obey the law of the land, and they should obey their own rules. Okay. So I just believe that some of the rules were not obeyed, because we are talking about the rights of a citizen to be fair hearing.
With due respect, we've had lawyers come to say that everything was obeyed, that he's just looking for an exit route by saying, the rule is not in place. The most important question, like you said rightly, because I'm just going through the Constitution again, where it talks about, 2/3, 188 and all of that. Were 2/3 met? Yes. Yeah. And they have removed him. So, like they say in the game of snake and the ladder, okay, it's either he goes to wait a turn, or he said he wants to go to court. But in all of this, we have not also spoken about the allegations against him. That the House is saying they're going to convene now. As you fight for the integrity of human rights and all of that, right, why is that EFCC has not taken it up? Because in some people's cases, you don't even need to write a petition before EFCC takes it up. In the case of Yaya Bello that you fought for, that I saw, there was no petition written. Was there any petition written? No. EFCC took it up, they investigated, they got their facts, and they started pushing that case. So why can't you, as a fighter of human rights now, say that EFCC should also investigate Obasa?
Well,
because you stand for human rights.
I was answering the question that was asked. Okay, the thing is that if I have said that if somebody is accused of misdemeanor or whatever, he should be given the opportunity. Of course, if the House believes that he had mismanaged some funds, of course, they have committees that will have looked into it and brought all the evidence to the public. Because it is the evidence that we can harvest. Up to now, we have had a couple of members.
No, but by now, EFCC should be able to swing into action and
no,
do their
so
work
definitely
and be investigating as an anti-graft agency. So, do you want EFCC to investigate Obasa? Do you want the anti-graft agencies to swing into action and investigate Obasa as we speak? Or should Obasa, in the interest of integrity, even go and present himself and say, okay, I'm here? What did they say?
Anyway, what ought to be done is that the House will inform the EFCC. But now that they have done it through the media, well, they need, usually they wait for petitions at the EFCC.
No, but they didn't do that in the case of Yaya Bello.
No, there were petitions against Yaya Bello, even when he was in the office. Several petitions. And that was why he went to court.
So in the media public space now, that comment, that's such a grievous allegation. It's not like a petition in the media public space that this man was found to have done X, Y, Z. The cases were listed. How much I was misappropriated with fixing of gates and things like that. So that's already a petition in the court of public opinion. Why don't you say EFCC should take that up and investigate Obasa?
I am saying...
You fight for human rights, that's what I'm saying.
Yes. I am saying that there are procedures for everything. The EFCC had to be invited in, otherwise they will be accused of maybe some vested interests at one side of the divide.
But if he's in opposition now, they will have gone for him.
Well, it depends on who is handling the case. Like I said, they act faster when there is a petition. They carry out discreet investigation when somebody is publicly accused. I am not speaking for the EFCC, but I know that some of the procedure they adopt is that when the thing was brought into the media, they will have their own, they will compile their own data. Okay, those are on the person that is being accused. They will not just act on impulse, because they might not have gotten all the evidence against the speaker, even if he committed that offense. But they needed those pieces of evidence.
They put the evidence in public, how much he misappropriated, and the project.
They have to do discrete. They need to listen to what I said. There is something they call discrete investigation.
Is there anything wrong in you advocating as a fighter for human rights that EFCC, please also investigate Obasa?
There's nothing. If you are recommending it to us, I mean, the thing is that we also have to seek out all of the pieces of evidence that they have. Like if somebody did a gate, I mean, maybe constructed gates for some houses for some bloated, cost. There should be a contractor, there should be receipt, there should be a procedure for awarding contract. Does it follow procurement, the due process? All of these, we need the information. So if you have it and you give it to us, we will be the one to write a petition and push.
Mr.
Yes.
Adeniran, look, Speaker Obasa himself, when he was addressing, his supporters, had made it clear that he has receipts for every expenditure. Good. And he will be willing to present, enough evidence to defend his own integrity. He made that very clear. So should any EFCC matter come up, he's on record in the public space as saying he has not done anything wrong. But let's talk about the real politics of it. There is also some fight within the what they call the Governor's Advisory Council, the GAC in Lagos, who are saying it's a family affair and they will sort it out. What role is that GAC going to play? How important are these Baba Sokwe people who think that they dictate what happens in Lagos politics? And two, what do you think Speaker Obasanjo should do?
Obasa.
Speaker Obasa, as he then was, should do going forward? Should he go to court, or should he just accept that, well, this is politics, and, relax and fight another day? Briefly, because
the
we're running out
intervention
of time.
GAC is an aberration to regular standard practice of democratic in Lagos State. They are supposed to be at the background, not to be seen, not to be heard. They should limit their voices to within their political arena. Okay, not to intervene in the democratic process, because the setting up and their intervention is actually anti-democratic, because they were not elected. It is a party thing. Now, that they have been intervening, they should have encouraged the House that they should follow the due process, rules of the of engagement, as it were, and intervene and ask them to actually set up a panel to investigate. That is where our own grouse comes in. Then talking about way forward, I believe that since he said he has all the evidence to prove that the expenditures were judiciously done, then you should, if the internal machinery does not work, then you should go to court to challenge the removal.
Well, you have said it, go to court. Former Speaker Mudashiru Obasa, thank you very much for your time with us.
It is my pleasure. Thank you.